Everyone, welcome back to another session for the 2025 CLIA Global Cruise Line webinar series. We're excited to be joining you today with Explora Journeys. My name is Johanna de Guzman, and I'm the Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA. Before we dive into today's presentation, I want to quickly cover a few housekeeping items. We encourage you to actively engage by submitting your questions through the webinar's questions module, and if time permits, we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation during the live Q&A session. For those of you who might miss today's live session or want to review the content later, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce your presenter, Patricia Di Benedetto. Patricia is Explora Journeys Business Relationship Lead, National and Key Accounts for Canada. With over 19 years of experience building retail and hospitality brands, Patricia has found a home in luxury travel. An avid traveler herself, Patricia knows how positive experiences can forge lifelong memories and even shape one's perspective on life. She loves to introduce travelers to places, experiences, and memories that they may not have imagined for themselves. And with that, take it away, Patricia.
Sail across the oceans in one of the world's most elegant resorts at sea, where the pace softens, time flows freely, and everything is thoughtfully considered. Your floating retreat, a journey of discovery, one horizon at a time. Discover your ocean state of mind. Sail unique with Explora Journeys.
Well, look at that. Hello, everyone. Sorry, as I was flipping back and forth between screens. So thank you so much for joining us today. There's nothing I love more than talking about Explora Journeys and really today's purpose, because we have been around for a couple of years. Hopefully we're not as new as we once were. So the goal is to really build your knowledge just beyond the product, but rather what sets us apart, how to identify that client that's right for you, what marketing tools we have available for you to help you reach your clients, taking a little bit of that work out for you. And as it was mentioned, please do enter any questions into that question mark box. We'll answer them as we go. And if we don't get to any, please rest assured that we will get you the answers after the presentation. But as we get moving on, so if you have been following our story, which I'm hopeful that many of you have, you've heard us say the following. We're family owned, we're European, we're headquartered in Geneva. That we were built upon surveying 20,000 potential affluent travelers. And they basically just told us they don't want the same thing. They want something different. So we built something inspired by private yachting. So we officially launched in August of 2023, and we now have 2 ships sailing with 4 more on the way. So most of that actually sounds pretty familiar, which is why today I'd like to focus on truly what sets us apart and how we can help you build your business. So our suites are not just spacious, they are sanctuaries. And I think these visuals give you that sense. We start at 377 square feet. Each one is ocean facing with a private terrace. They're designed really to feel like a high-end residence, calming palettes, thoughtful lighting, walk-in wardrobes, and so much more. We also offer 80 connecting suites for families, and our penthouses and residences really do rival those luxury hotels on land that we often say is our competitive set. We are really targeting that luxury land consumer that maybe wouldn't thought of cruising as an option, but Explora really does open up that opportunity for them. We have 12 bars and lounges on board, with each one having its own vibe. From the moment you step on board, you really do feel the difference. You feel the elegance, you feel the attention detail. Every space is designed with purpose. You see curated textures, ambient lighting, and just an overall sense of calm on board. The lobby bar is super airy and it's refined for a perfect morning espresso or an evening champagne, which is likely where you'll find me, but you didn't ask. The malt whiskey bar is intimate and moody. We have, very rare spirits and curated tastings that go on through there. Our Explora Lounge offers panoramic views with some quiet sophistication. And truly, our mixologists are absolutely incredible. Every cocktail is crafted with precision. They really get to know your order. They suggest different flavors and really creates that bonding experience, really making you look forward to going back to your favorite lobby bar or your favorite outdoor area interacting with these mixologists. So let's talk about the pools and what surrounds those. So we offer 4 pools. Each has its own mood and its own purpose. Our stern pool, which you see very often, is that infinity pool that kind of blurs the line between the sea and the sky. Our conservatory pool is built to be climate controlled, so to protect against the elements when we are traveling through maybe some cooler areas around the world. Helios is our adult only sanctuary, so knowing we have families on board, but also wanting to protect those adult spaces for our guests that perhaps are not traveling with children. But the experience really doesn't stop at the water's edge. We also have our thermal spa, which is inclusive of your journey. So whether you're enjoying the hydrotherapy pool or enjoying the sauna or our salt cave, really a fantastic way to relax and unwind. And our fitness center, this isn't an afterthought. We have 2 different spaces. One is for cardio and strength. One is for functional movement and classes. Guests can enjoy sunrise yoga. They can enjoy meditation, even personal training, all with fantastic views, as you could imagine. Now, culinary. This is a true highlight. And each and every week when we conduct surveys with guests disembarking and we ask them about their experience, our culinary program is a shining star each and every week. We didn't just build restaurants, we curated experiences. Each of our 6 signature venues is designed to evoke the feeling of your favorite place back home, right? But what we're doing is we're actually creating it and adding in a global inspiration. So depending on where we are in the world, we're also going to bring in those flavors to make sure that we're sort of mimicking what you're seeing on land and on board. And then obviously our standard practice with our restaurants, they all have a certain flavor. So Fil Rouge offering French elegance with, you know, a bit of a modern flair, not what you're typically expecting at a French cuisine. Med Yacht really has some Mediterranean items, great for sharing. Marble & Co is our steakhouse, so very refined and moody and indulgent, definitely the richest of the menus and fantastic. Sakura brings that Pan-Asian flavor as well. So again, a very, very high favorite. People really do love that environment altogether. And Emporium Marketplace, you know, as you would expect in luxury, buffets and luxury don't match together. But the purpose of a buffet is having that quick option, but we wanted to make sure we continue to elevate that experience. So what we did is we created 18 live cooking stations in our marketplace where it is served to you, but you can choose as you'd like, and it will evolve from breakfast to lunch to dinner. So, you know, we hear time and time again, guests tell us it's the best cuisine they've ever had at sea or on land. So we launched to our trade community, to all of you listening in on this call or watching the recording live, with one of the highest commission rates, resulting in a comma in your commission check, right? So that is definitely an important point. We want to make sure that we're compensating you for the work that you do, and we pay at final payment. So before your clients even sail, you will have that commission check in your bank account. There are no NCFs, meaning more money in your pocket once again. We pay 5% commission on add-ons. Those can be pre and post journey hotels, transfers to and from the ship, our air program, as well as if you're selling Formula One, also commissionable on the grandstand tickets. So lots of different ways that we're looking to compensate you. And we're looking to continue to build that loyalty among your clients. So we recently launched our Explora Club along with our status match. So our long-awaited Explora Club loyalty program, again, those of you that have followed us, we've been asked this question many, many times. So we were very proud to have finally launched our loyalty program. And it really was designed to reward and celebrate our guests. So the way it works and how to earn, excuse me, is weighted nights at sea is where you will earn your points based on night sailed with multipliers by suite category. Extra points are available via onboard spending and destination experiences. There are 5 membership levels. So we'll go from classic to silver, gold, platinum, and then diamond. And then with this, you have some different privileges and benefits associated. So gifts and surprises, pre-journey privileges, JEC, which stands for Journey Experience Credit, also known as onboard credits, value saving, exclusive events, and elevated services. I was actually on this summer myself in July, and I heard some chatter around the ship that some repeating guests had been invited to this exclusive party. And it felt like this secret society, and they were so honored to be part of it. And then it almost made guests that were trying us for the first time thinking about, oh, when I come back the next time, then I'll be invited. So it's already starting to work, and we're starting to see the excitement and results from this program. Another common thing that we hear about is status match. We all can agree status is important. I try to downplay it. However, it is the airline I select based on the status that I have. So fully understood that there are plenty of clients out there that have a high status and don't want to lose that opportunity. So we do have the following lines here that you see in front of you, and we are consistently evaluating and adding as well. And what we will do is we will status match once with one of the lines. So you can register in a couple ways, or your guests can. So one, during the enrollment process, they can simply select when they're creating their My Explora account, dedicated status match. If they already have a profile, they can log into My Explora and then click on the Explora Club section and then fill that out there. Or there's always the easy fail catcher, let's call it, is using the Contact Us form, and someone will be able to assist. And essentially what we need is a scan, a photo, a screenshot, or something of their highest loyalty status with one of the other lines, and then we will match it as best as possible with our onboard program. So this has been a huge hit for our clients for sure. Now, last week was a very exciting week because we launched even more itineraries than before. So again, those of you that have been following us, we used to have 2 little dots on this map, very focused in the Caribbean and the Mediterranean, and now we see this lovely rainbow of dots spread all the way around the world. So very excited to see 5 ships open for deployment, visiting all different areas of the world. So for those clients that are very well traveled, that are looking for different destinations to venture to, we are now answering that call. I'm very excited to do so. So in front of you, you see our beautiful Explora 1 and 2. These are our Pride and Joy. They are currently sailing in the Mediterranean, and they'll do a late crossing over to the Caribbean in November of this year to have a Caribbean season up until March of 2026. So when we take a look at how those lay out, Explora 1, you see that the kind of late spring out to late fall, very Mediterranean, Western Europe heavy, and then the winters will be spent in the Caribbean and Central America. And then sort of newly introduced is we have the South America and the Amazon, and then last week releasing Red Sea and Arabian Peninsula itineraries. And then when we look at Explora 2, very similar patterns with having the reverse of the Red Sea and South America as the itinerary. So these two tend to follow suit in similar areas, obviously different itineraries, but you can see the pattern with these two. So to highlight just a few, so looking at South America, because this is a really cool opportunity here. So it's a beautiful itinerary departing from San Juan and then visiting some really fantastic Southern Caribbean islands. So you're getting St. Bart's, you're getting Martinique, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. So very rich islands and a really great opportunity before venturing down, cruising through that Amazon River, being able to stand in between 2 hemispheres, getting into the gateway of the Amazon rainforest. So a beautiful itinerary here, 12 days down, and you can back-to-back it and then work your way back up and not repeat ports, which is what we pride ourselves on. We call ourselves Explora Journeys because we are open-ended. The option for you to create pre and post land portions, we want to be the and, not the or. We don't want people to have to choose between us or something else. Why not pair them together beautifully? But also when it comes to back-to-back, for those clients that can travel a little bit longer, not repeating ports is critical for us because then that allows them to continuously extend their experience with us based on what suits their needs. When we take a look at the Red Sea and the Arabian Peninsula as an example, so this is a really cool option where we begin with an overnight in Dubai. So it gives you plenty of time to arrive, unpack, get into your suite, but also enjoy the different skylines and all of the luxury shopping that it has to offer before visiting some stops. But the real highlight here is being able to be pulled out of the United Arab Emirates on New Year's Eve and be able to see the fireworks displayed directly in front of you on the ship. So really beautiful opportunities, and we're always looking for these unique experiences for our clients for reasons to join us in these different destinations. Now, when we look at Explora 3, we really make her work. Look at this lovely list of destinations. So moving from the Med over to Northern Europe, Iceland, and Greenland, very excited about that. So she'll launch next summer in August and then work her way through the fall upwards and then back down the US and Canada East Coast before moving to the Caribbean, Central and North America Pacific Coast, and Alaska, which we had already previously opened, but really, really important to highlight Alaska as well before we move to Asia, which absolutely has been the #1 demanded question from us. Any trade show that me and my colleagues are at, anytime we're having conversations, we are consistently asked about Asia. So very excited to show that we will be there as well. Taking a quick look at Northern Europe, Iceland, and Greenland to see how we venture. So starting from Reykjavik, so you see 2 different destinations in Iceland before seeing 2 more over in Greenland. So really getting a little bit more immersed in these destinations before coming down the Canadian East Coast. So visiting Corner Brook, ending up in Quebec City. Then you'll see a few itineraries from Quebec City to New York and back again before heading down to Miami for her Caribbean season. Now, Alaska. Explora will be one of the newest ships in the world to visit Alaska in 2027. We will visit highly desired ports, so things like Juneau, Skagway, Ketchikan, Sitka. We will have a glacier viewing on top attractions such as Hubbard Glacier, Tracy Arm Fjord. We will not repeat ports on back-to-back journeys, so even on 14-night itineraries, we will actually see different destinations, which is very, very unique when it comes to the Alaska season. We have many round-trip Vancouvers as well, so perhaps a little bit easier when it comes to flights. And there's also flexible in numbers of nights. So we range from 7 to 9, 10, 11, 12. So there is literally something for everyone. And we have also introduced some pre and post cruise options. For example, there's an option where Rocky Mountaineer is paired beginning in Calgary, moving over to Vancouver before heading on to Explora. So lots of great options that are different that you could be offering to your clients. And then, as I mentioned, is my little Asia. I'm so happy that we have launched Asia. So her inaugural journeys will actually feature 10 countries, 47 destinations, and 15 overnight stays. We will be there for fall foliage season in Japan of the fall of 2027. We will be there for the Chinese Golden Week, so lots of national celebrations and fireworks. We'll also be sailing during Chinese New Year, and we'll be sure to feature a series of events and themed entertainment on board to celebrate this. And of course, the anticipated cherry blossom season from February to late April, we will also be there as well. So now Explora 4, it is crazy that I'm talking about Explora 4. So we went from it feels like a dream, and now I'm already talking about Explora 4. So you can see a similar pattern here where she moves Mediterranean over to Northern Europe, Iceland and Greenland, down the East Coast and to the Caribbean again. Explora 4 as well will feature LNG powered oh my goodness, sustainability, forgive me for that, because our commitment to decarbonizing our marine operations, reducing environmental impact is really, really important to us. So she will launch in summer of 2027. So taking a look at that US and East Coast, you can see some beautiful itineraries here. I had mentioned this earlier on Explora 3, so heading Quebec City down to New York. So you'll see a variety of different options for our guests to enjoy there as well. And then last, but definitely not least, is Explora 5, who will begin in December 2027. So she will be the newest addition to our fleet. She will debut very, very differently, and she'll offer a very rare perspective on the Med during its quieter season. So it'll be a little cooler, a little calmer, opportunity for guests to really get in and see those historical places free of the high tourism seasons. And I know I've talked a lot about New Year's and fireworks, but in this particular case, we'll actually be parked out of Naples, who has a legendary New Year's Eve fireworks show, and we'll be viewing that from the sea. So tons of different options for you when it comes to your clients. So you can see here, Explora 1 through 5 have open deployment, and Explora 6 will be the last from the fleet to open up. So lots of options here, very excited. So all of that said, a common question we get, again, when we're at conferences and we're interacting with each of you, is our brand positioning. Like, who is the Explora Journeys client? Because the industry will always place us amongst a competitive set. Sometimes it doesn't actually match who we are targeting. So, to put that into some perspective, we took the feedback and applied it forward on who are our clients. So first and foremost, they are well-traveled guests, and they are seeking new experiences. So they have likely traveled a lot, both on land and on ocean. They've tried different things. And like many things that are happening now, everybody wants a new experience. They want a new experience in their hometown when they go for a dining experience. They're looking for new shows. Everybody's looking for something new. So that is definitely our client, that one that is a little bit more adventurous. Those that have never cruised before. So you've heard me mention this a couple times through the webinar already. Those that have never considered cruising, this now opens up an opportunity, because this really doesn't feel like traditional cruising. Obviously on purpose, we really did want to model after a luxury land resort. Solo travelers. I cannot speak more highly of our solo traveler population. First and foremost, our solo supplement starts as low as 25% on average, which already is very, very enticing. We actually have a list of about 10 journeys right now that have a 0% solo supplement, so even more enticing for those clients. But they are actually loving their experience on board. And the reason we know this is because they are our highest rebookers. So they are coming on board and trying us for the first time, like many are. And they are the ones that are actually booking us again at a 75% rate. So we are doing something very right for our solo travelers, and they are sharing their feedback, right? They're getting on board. Hey, would you consider doing this as an option? Or could we do this kind of activity? We're also very nimble on board. So we have meetups on days 1 and 2, right? Because day 1, not everybody shows up. People are traveling, they're tired. So we want to make sure day 2, we have additional activities to kind of source out and see who's there. And then we take, a more nimble approach in the sense that we ask them, what do you like to do? Do you want to meet up for dinners? Is it more for drinks? Would you guys like to go out on shore? And then, so it's not a solid program where it's like, this is what we do every single day. It really does kind of morph into what the group is looking to do. And I think solos are truly, truly loving that. And another area is multi-gen travel. So this continues to be on a rise. It is always going to be on the rise. Anytime you read a trend report, you're always going to see this. What I will say is we are seeing the little guys that kind of stick with mom and dad and don't really know they exist in the world, or you're seeing the older teen. And I can use myself as an example. I have 2 teenage boys, 14 and 18. We went this summer. They're the perfect age. Why? Because they need Wi-Fi. They could care less about any activities, slides, race cars. They just need Wi-Fi to be connected with their friends, but they absolutely love their experience on board. So we're definitely seeing well-traveled children on board, and we're seeing a lot of celebratory travelers. So if you have clients that, celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, they are likely headed into this luxury space and have been living here for a while and don't necessarily want to change that. This has now opened an option for them to bring their children and grandchildren on board with them as well. So what are they looking for? They're definitely looking for a boutique hotel vibe. So this whole relaxed and understated, when you get on board, you're in luxury, but you feel like you belong no matter who you are. So it is very understated in the best possible way. Really do value meeting others. So whether that's meeting our hosts, which actually mainly come from luxury hotel, and having that interaction point, or it could be fellow travelers, our pickleball court. I know it's called a sports court, but essentially it's become a pickleball court. Lots of different interaction there, which is great. You're seeing people meet each other. We do these little competitions, little tournaments, and then you see them meeting up at our Journeys Lounge in the evening. So it really is such a comfortable, relaxed way to meet other guests. I think people are really loving that as well. They're looking for something new and exciting. They're not looking for the traditional cruise. They're looking for something completely different, a little more relaxed, a little less regimented, and really matching a little bit more of their lifestyle. And they want to have everything included, but not have it feel stuffy, but rather welcoming. So, I was on board very incognito. I didn't tell anybody I worked for the brand because I wanted to be treated like a guest, and also didn't want to work on my vacation, if I'm being honest. And it was so wonderful to see how we always get compliments on our staff and how they interact with our guests. I can now speak firsthand on how that felt. And, there was a girl named Rita. She was in Crema Cafe, and she got to know me and my family really well. And every day she came over and she'd tell us something about the port, or she'd tell us if she had visited before or something to do, or simply, I haven't been out there. Can you guys just let me know what your day is like? And we actually got back on board and looked for Rita to tell her. So there really is that genuineness of being this whole welcoming environment, and you really feel like you belong with Explora. And then our luxury hotel clients. This is a huge target and a great target. They, based on everything I've described up until this point, we really do have that hotel feel. And, there's a few ways you can position Explora to those clients. First and foremost, as we all know, they only have to unpack once, which is a luxury in and of itself. There's no daily planning or logistics they have to deal with. They wake up each morning and they're in a new, beautiful destination. They can dine in 6 fine restaurants without needing a reservation app or a taxi to get them there. And they gain back hours, whether it's to read, be present with their family or their loved ones, or simply just to breathe and relax. Guests see the world, not just one destination. So it's a great way to position this as their next option. And as you know, we are an all-inclusive luxury. Everything that is on board is included in the journey. So you have your unlimited fine beverages, fine wines, premium spirits. For guests that do not consume alcohol, we have lots of alcohol-free options as well. Because the idea here is being able to sit at the bar and interact with that mixologist and have those conversations. And you shouldn't be limited to, you know, soda water with a splash of cranberry juice, but rather a list of 25 different mocktails to enjoy. All of your fine dining is included. There is one restaurant, Anthology, where there's an additional fee for, where it's more of a Michelin style restaurant. So think 7-course tasting menu paired with different wines. So a very special elevated experience. However, all of our restaurants really do feel the exact same way when it comes to the special treatment and the wonderful menus. Wi-Fi is included. Very important point when you're speaking to your clients, not only is Wi-Fi included, it is truly high speed. We have 2 satellite providers so that if one doesn't happen to be strong enough in a certain area of the world, the other will kick in. There's a router in each and every suite ensuring that high speed Wi-Fi. And the reason we do this is because our average age on board is 52. So 52 tells us we still have a working professional that sadly is vacationing, but also working, like many of you again on this call are doing the same thing. You're on vacation, but you have to bring your laptop because you might have, you know, a guest in destination and you need to be available. And then you have to send that one file. And there is nothing worse than that spinning wheel of death when you cannot send that file. So being able to have high-speed Wi-Fi, log into your laptop, send that file, be done with it, and go enjoy your day. Really important to us to make sure we're providing that. Onboard gratuities are included. Shuttle services from port to city center are also included, very valuable in the Mediterranean when it is scorching hot and all you want to do is get back to the ship. Nice to have that shuttle. And all of this is wrapped in a sleek, intimate atmosphere. So if I haven't painted a wonderful picture for you, I don't know what more I can do to really sell you on this idea that Explora Journeys is really something that you should be positioning to each and every one of your clients. Now, in order to do so, we know we are a new brand. We know sometimes you don't have the time, and by sometimes you never have the time. It is hard to find time to market, and we get that. So we have 3 really valuable tools that I will quickly take you through that you can use to approach your clients. And conveniently, it's called Approach Guides. So we've partnered with Approach Guides to create a tool that lets you easily create and share beautiful, personalized brand information with your clients. So if you've heard it, for those that are not well versed in the marketing space, you've heard this as a co-branded website, or if you've heard of white label, all of these code words sometimes get a little scary, but it is actually quite simple. This really just helps elevate client engagement and support your sales. So once you sign on to this, on the left-hand side, you fill out your information. You have the opportunity to add your company logo, a personal photo, and all of your relevant information. Now, if you look at this slide in front of you, this is actually just the Explora Journeys site. This is our consumer site. And what we don't want is guests to contact us. We want them working with you as their travel advisor. So essentially, by signing up to this Approach Guides, it looks almost identical, as you can see. So your guests are still searching, but guess what? That contact button has completely changed. We now show your logo, your headshot, your name, and your contact information. So they will contact you versus coming to us directly. So it is the same experience online. And what they can do is, you know, they sift through, they're looking, you've told them to check things out. Then they click on a journey and they will simply, it'll open up an email attachment as you see here, and they'll be able to contact you directly, fill out their name and their number. So if you're sending out newsletters, if you're putting this on Facebook, however you're communicating, this will do so much of the work for you, and it's all updated and refreshed every week. So you're getting very relevant information. You're not getting stagnant imagery. We're really doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make your life a lot easier. The other option is Branch Up. So this should be pretty familiar to most of you. So if Facebook is your main form of contact, then we have Branch Up for you. It gives you an elevated online presence. We have 4 different Facebook posts per month that you can schedule, and that is an option for you. If you are someone that is past and expanded past the Facebook realm, Rallyo is it for you. So Rallyo is a new partner of ours. We have a pre-approved content library, which I'll show you in just a moment. You can schedule everything, kind of click, 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 but you see all those icons on the bottom. Maybe you use Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Maybe you use TikTok and LinkedIn, whatever you're using. This will allow you to publish on all platforms all at once. You can also evaluate, check different analytical sites, And if you have a multi-location business, which I'm sure many of you do on this call, this will actually solve that problem and work for multiple locations as well. So this takes a lot of work out of the actual posting. If you wanted to post every single day, we have 2 options per day, giving you 60 a month if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend that. That might be a little bit overkill, but the point is we're constantly refreshing this. So I just took a little snapshot. These are just the newest assets that we added as recently as September 4th, September 9th, and there should be another selection today. And it's really focused on what's new and exciting. So Explora 5 is out, our new itineraries are out. So it's very timely. And again, we take a lot of that work out for you. So we have all these tools. Hopefully you can screenshot, scan these QR. We will send a follow-up as well. But all of these tools are here, complimentary. We're heavily investing, so you don't have to get after those clients. Another way that we are supporting the travel advisor community is through our consumer marketing. So in the very beginning and early stages, we were very reliant on you as our travel advisor because we trust you. We trust you to reach out to your clients to tell the Explora Journeys story. We realize that's a very heavy responsibility on you, and we recognize brand awareness is critical. But we want to make sure we do brand awareness in such a way that it still keeps the business with you and not directly with us. So it's a matter of being out there in very public spaces, public forums. So hopefully many of you watched the US Open and you perhaps saw this young chap, Jannik Sinner. So he's actually an Italian tennis player, currently ranked #1 in the world. He is absolutely fantastic. So, you know, our partnership with him is really rooted in our shared values, right? So we want to be authentic. He's very focused. He's very purposeful, much like we are at Explora. So what this means for you, it's a stronger brand credibility with existing and new luxury travelers as well. It gives you some fresh marketing assets and storytelling to capture. I cannot tell you how many text messages I got when he was on, well, the US Open being the most recent one, but all of his team is wearing our logo caps, logo polos. There's a lot of new social media posts that include him being interviewed by us. So it's really just good to get that curiosity going. Our web traffic, our Explora search has gone up tenfold simply because people are like, oh, Explora Journeys. So clearly there's more educating we need to do. And I think he was a fantastic option for us to partner with. And then for the second year in a row, we will be at Monaco for the Monaco, you know, the legendary front row access positioning. So we're really excited. So last year, Explora 2 was here. This year it will be Explora 1. Guests can book their front row access between June 3rd and 8th, where Explora 1 will really truly act as their luxury hotel at sea. And guests, this year we've done it tiny bit different, where you have the option to just book the suite without the tickets. We will always recommend to book the suite with the commissionable grandstand tickets, and then we will have a wait list for the Paddock Club as well. And then on board, we'll have curated experiences, we'll have race-inspired entertainment, and we will have exclusive moments with motorsport legends. So lots of great options to actually book your clients, but also just great exposure, again, talking about brand awareness. So before I conclude all of it, I want to take you through the current offer, or offers, shall I say, that just launched yesterday. Very rich offer. Great time to be booking your clients. So between September 17th out to October 14th, you can receive up to $1,000 US per suite for a prepaid destination experience credit. What does that mean? That means guests must book this pre-journey. So up to 3 days before, they can book their destination experience, also known as shore excursion, for their clients. Once they are on board, that credit goes away. So it's really important to have these pre-booked so they don't lose that opportunity. And the way that works, just to lay it out simply, and this is by per person, it goes by category. So 200 for an ocean terrace suite, 400 for the suite, 300 or 600 for the suite on a penthouse, and then up to 1,000 for the ocean residence suite. So great opportunity there. We also have an early booking bonus on right now. So for anything departing from November 26th onwards, there's an additional 5% savings off of the journey fare. And as I mentioned, with our Sail Unique, a journey of one, the following journeys, if you want a screenshot or take a picture, have a 0% solo supplement. So starting from as early as September, going out until June of 2026. So again, knowing their satisfaction rate, their rebook rates, if you have a group of, you know, we'll call it a group of women that want their own space but want to travel together, great option to get them on board Explora on one of these journeys. So with all of that loveliness said, I am going to say thank you and turn it over to if we have any questions.
Patricia, thank you very much for a great presentation. I want to pass along the compliments you're getting in the chat about they love this presentation, and lots of questions are coming in. And those of you who have sent in questions that have already been answered, thank you to Jonathan from the Explora team who is in the chat, active. So let's get to it. Let's just start with just the main question for those advisors who may be new to Explora. And Jonathan has already answered this question, but for those who might have missed it, could you just let us know where the advisors should go if they need to make an account for Explora, if they're new to the brand, wanting to get their clients booked?
Absolutely. Thank you. And that is, you know, as much as the starting point as that sounds, it's really important and very simple. So if you go to explorajourneys.com, on the top right-hand corner, you'll see a box that says travel advisors. You simply click that box and complete your information, and then you're registered with our travel advisor center. And then you will have access to our booking suite, as well as our marketing suite that has plenty of these marketing tools that I took you through. You'll have access to our knowledge suite, which is our learning platform, which I will actually preemptively answer a question that comes up every single training as well, if you don't mind, which is, do you have TA rates? So yes, we have TA rates. However, in the Travel Advisor Center, when you go to Knowledge Suite, which is our training platform, there is a foundation section and a how-to section. Both of those need to be completed. Then you will be able to download a certificate under your profile. Once you have that completed certificate, you can reach out to your business relationship lead, depending on where you are across North America, share that certificate, and then we can quote you a travel advisor rate. The pricing is dynamic, it's not standard. It's on most of our journeys, but we're quoting out between 6 and 8 months. So I will answer that, not knowing if it's even in the question box, but I'm pretty sure that's on people's minds.
No, it definitely was in the question box, and it is very important for our advisors to experience it, you know, firsthand. And honestly, after hearing everything and seeing all the images and the videos, I'm ready to get on board with on my next journey with Explora. So thank you for sharing that, Patricia, and just really making sure that we get our advisors on board. Once let's say our advisors do all the training, they experience Explora, and now they've booked their first client onto Explora Journeys. I think a good question, especially for a luxury brand like this, is could you just tell us a little bit about the dress code, if there is one, or any tips for talking to their clients to really prep them for that luxurious experience that they're going to have on board?
Yes, and thank you to whoever asked that question, because this is a common question and maybe not always answered the best way. So I'll give you my cheeky answer. So we are very relaxed on board. We don't require sport coats or fancy dresses. We recognize it's people's vacations and they don't want to necessarily be packing fancy outfits. So the way I describe it, I can say elegant chic, I can say country club casual, I can say all of these terms that generally mean nothing to anybody. What I will say is how you dress in your hometown for a nicer dinner is the expectation on board Explora, right? So having, you know, a pair of slacks and a button down for men, or a polo in the hotter weather, you know, summer dresses for women, or slacks and a nice top, not overdone, but obviously it's a luxury product, so we still want to look our best, but it's nothing wild and crazy, if that helps.
Yes, super helpful, because we don't want to send our clients on board and they're underdressed or overdressed. Well, overdressed, I don't think is a problem on Explora Journeys,
right, but fair enough. But you don't want to be underdressed, exactly.
Yes, great tip. Thank you for that. And so just moving on to another question that we get a lot from advisors is accessibility on board, especially with a smaller vessel and different accommodations offered with the brands. Could you just talk about any accessible stateroom, and then how that maybe might transition to off the ship experiences for onshore excursions?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are accessible friendly. We do have specific suites that have different configurations to accommodate, of course, as well as in all of our public spaces. You know, I was on board in Europe and we had to tender into quite a few ports, right? Which could sound concerning. We have it down to an art. So we definitely are able to be very accommodating. However, what I will say is we are accessible friendly. However, we don't, every situation is a little bit different. So we actually have a dedicated brand ambassador. His name is Marcello. So if you have any accessible questions and you email our support@explorajourneys.com, he will be able to phone you and actually walk through all of the needs of your guests to make sure they're fully comfortable before getting on board. Because there are brands out there that are very accessible friendly to a whole nother degree. We may not fit the bill specifically, so it's always good to review that with one of our team members to make sure your client will be satisfied on board.
But it's always a good step to set expectations and make sure it's the right journey for the client. So thank you for that, Patricia.
Exactly, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it would be good to hear kind of your tips for finalizing or finishing or pushing that last booking through and really getting the client to say, okay, I'm going to try this brand in the event that, let's say, they've never been on a luxury cruise or have never tried a brand like this, and they're more on a different brand, right? They've only tried or seen someone else. Could you just talk about how or what advice you would give to an advisor who maybe have a client who has a common misconception or may have a doubt about price point or what they're going to experience?
So yeah, and I'll answer that in two ways. So if we look at the price point piece of it, right, because a lot of people maybe have moved through contemporary products or kind of different products in that range, and now this is a step up. I think sometimes when you start the conversation of what are your best memories on vacation, even if you don't look at travel, if you start with what was your best meal experience, what was the best concert you went to, they're going to tell you when they were front row seeing whatever their favorite artist was, or that incredible, experience at this restaurant. They're not going to tell you, oh, the time I spent the most amount of money on the concert ticket or the most amount of money I spent at the restaurant. They're going to tell you about how they felt. So really, even though I'm sure many of you have heard this before, when you play on emotion and try to really craft this idea of imagine this experience where you can just actually sit back, relax, be served, enjoy fantastic food and beverages, and really living a stressful life, you get to spend a week on board where you can be stress-free. I think you need to really get them in that zone because money is money, we get it. But really it's about explaining to them how they're going to feel when they're on board. And I think that's a big piece of it. I was going to answer this two ways. One was price and one was, and the other one would have been, there's other perhaps younger travelers or travelers that are like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for luxury. Because again, that's a misconception. Once you've hit luxury, maybe you don't belong. I think really, I hope I hammered that point home through this presentation. It is such a relaxed, welcoming environment. It's such a great way for different age groups, different nationalities to come together and all be welcomed in one space. It really is. I know I work for the brand, but I can speak wholeheartedly. There is no experience out there like Explora Journeys. It's impossible to emulate what we are doing.
Once in a lifetime journey. I think that's what I'm hearing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for those tips. And for somebody who, especially for me, I have not been able to experience a luxury journey yet. So there are those thoughts that go through your mind when you're not used to that kind of experience yet. So thank you, Patricia. And just to finish up here, if we have any last minute questions, go ahead and send them in. But to wrap up, just the good webinar that we're having and the good discussion that we're having around Explora Journeys, could you just let our advisors know of any other social media groups that they can go to get the most up-to-date information so that they can stay in contact with your team over at Explora?
Sure. We don't have a dedicated North American site, so any of the Explora Journeys handles are definitely the place you want to be. I know there are plenty of forums, consumer-based and travel advisor-based, that I can't necessarily promote, but definitely lots of great information there. But the one actual social platform that I always try to highlight is our YouTube channel. So oftentimes, again, we have a lot of resources. Clients can be very visual. So our YouTube channel has incredible videos, little vignettes of our different restaurants or our spa area. It would be great to actually send those links out as you're talking to clients, because then they can come start poking at, short little films that we've created, and really it can create that emotion that we're looking to create for them on why they would want to choose Explora.
Perfect. Amazing. And Patricia, if you want to close up with any last minute thoughts or advice or tips, the floor is yours and we can wrap up for the day.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you, because anybody that is dedicating time to join a webinar when I know how incredibly busy we all are, I very much appreciate the time. Again, I say this sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Explora Journeys really has created something new and different, and not just for the sake of being new and different. We have created it on feedback. We're continuously listening to feedback. We're implementing new things. We're changing things up. Guests told us they get back on board, after being out in port, they're a little bit, snacky. What can we get? We now have beautiful charcuterie boards and bubbles in our coffee spot. So we are listening continuously, and there's nothing better than those clients being able to share their opinions, see that we're answering that call and wanting to return back. So I definitely encourage you to reach out to your business relationship lead as well. If you go on our Explora Journey site, when you're registered, you'll be able to pull up so you know which rep is in your area. So please do reach out. We are here to support you however we can.
Wonderful. And it's always good to know that we have the support of our member brand, especially like Explora Journeys. So thank you, Patricia and Jonathan, for taking time out of your busy schedules to really support our advisors and share this information with them. So everyone have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the work week. And we will see you on the next session.
Thank you.